This right here, it's the MLB price check, folks. And the way this works, you guys know it. We're going to identify guys that you really like at certain price points. So let's begin with a pitcher at 8K or above. Let's begin with the clean one, Garion Thorne.
Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of great pitching options on this slate. We talked yesterday about how there were none. It's because everyone was saving their best pitcher for Wednesday, I guess. But of the amazing pitchers on a dollar for dollar basis, I'm actually going to say I like Zack Wheeler the most, not Jacob deGrom. Zack Wheeler, if not for Jacob deGrom's presence, I think we would be talking a lot more about Zack Wheeler because he's been on an incredible run his past 5 starts. It's a span of time where he's got double-digit strikeouts in 4 of those 5 games. He's got a 1.65 FIP across that span of time, a 41.2% strikeout rate, which is just ungodly. That is a crazy number. And he's also holding opponents to a 197 WOBA in that span of time. The Dodgers are a tough matchup on paper. However, this isn't like an A-plus Dodgers lineup. This is like a C-minus Dodgers lineup. No Muncy, no Bellinger, no Seager. I think that Wheeler can get it done. And at $9,600, he's relatively cheap for his talent level.
Kenny, I've seen a lot of nodding in agreement from you, and that's not your MO. That's not what you do. So what are you thinking here?
Yeah, no, I really wanted to talk about Zack Wheeler here, and I'm not going to because Garion stole my thunder. So another guy I was prepared to talk about because I figured that Zack Wheeler would be popular is Clayton Kershaw. And I think that in the same game, Clayton Kershaw could also have a very good start. I don't think there's going to be a single run scored in this game. I mean, I guess technically there has to be one. But the Philadelphia Phillies have been that bad on offense. They're middle of the pack against lefties in WRC plus, and 84 WRC plus over the last week. Over the last 2 weeks, it's been the same story. No one on this team is hitting, and now Gene Segura injured. It's pretty much the epitome of the Philadelphia Phillies, right? Like they have all these talented bats, and none of them have been able to do anything. Alec Boehm is slumping. So I really just don't trust them to really bother Clayton Kershaw. And I know that, like Garion said, it's been a C-minus Dodgers lineup. It's been kind of like a B-minus Clayton Kershaw this year, but he showed you in his last outing against the Texas Rangers, 6 innings, 9 strikeouts. He can still get it done. He's been a decent fantasy starter all season long with a few hiccups, and I don't think that this is going to be one of those hiccups, just a Philadelphia Phillies team that's that weak.
Are you okay? You've got a Madden sim later on today, too. Is your voice going to hold up?
Yeah, the more I talk, the more it gets better. So that's sort of what happens.
That's definitely the opposite.
What happened was actually I bet on the Clippers to win the finals, and then Kawhi Leonard got hurt, so I yelled all the time.
Just been screaming at the clouds all morning. I totally understand. Let's stay with you and let's make you keep talking and get that voice better real fast, okay? How about a hitter at 5K or up?
I really like Nelson Cruz at 5K. I don't know why his price has come down, and believe me, this is a good pick despite the fact that I can't articulate it properly. They're playing Justice Sheffield and the Mariners. Justice Sheffield is a left-handed pitcher. And one of the automatic things that I'm always doing every day when I'm filling out my lineup is if Nelson Cruz is going against the lefty, I have some exposure. He's got an OPS over 1,000 against lefties. He is on fire right now, 3 homers and a 435 batting average over the last week. It's really hard to find a guy going as well as he is. Multiple double-digit DK fantasy point outings for him. The last time he faced a lefty, Marco Gonzalez, he had 11, 3 hits, three singles, and a walk. He's reached all 4 times. Valdez as well, the Astros, 17 DK fantasy points. So the last 3 times that he's faced a lefty, he's gone for double-digit fantasy points. And I don't think that that's going to be a different story tonight against Justice Sheffield, who we don't trust as a good pitcher in DFS.
Need a bat that stands out to you, Garion?
I'm going to go with Freddy Freeman. We haven't really seen like the NL MVP version of Freeman so far this season, but he has been really good at home against right-handed pitching. He's got a 404 WOBA and a 156 WRC plus within those splits. And this is probably more about Garrett Richards than it is about Freddie Freeman, or even if you want to use Ronald Acuna, who's 5,900. So pretty expensive, but I think viable on this slate. Richards to me is a ticking time bomb. This is someone who in his last 3 starts has allowed an opponent WOBA of 390. 66% of his batted ball events in that 3-start span have come off the bat at least 95 miles per hour. His last start against Toronto, he probably had 4 balls that should have been home runs that the Green Monster saved. Like, he he is so due to give up 12 earned runs in a game. And I think it probably happens tonight. I think Atlanta gets to him. And I think Freeman is a big part of that in the middle of that Braves order.
We've spent enough time together, Garion, for you to know that I like the bargain bin. I like the value shopping. So we need a savings on a hitter. Who do you like?
Ahmed Rosario, who is actually maybe hitting better than the guy he was traded for in the offseason. Rosario's been absolutely on fire since May 12th. He had a 4-hit game that night. And since that point, he has almost been unstoppable at the top of Cleveland's lineup. He's generally hitting second. He draws a lefty tonight. He also draws the Orioles bullpen, which is always really appealing. But he's just $3,800 at a shortstop position where, generally speaking, it is very hard to find anyone below 4K that you like on a slate. But Rosario is slashing 360, 405, 477 since that May 2nd game. He's also got 6 stolen bases in that span of time. So there's a lot of different ways that he can get you fantasy points. And I just think this is a volume thing. Like, he's going to get 5 plate appearances tonight, most likely. I think Cleveland's going to score a lot of runs. And I think he's really going to be able to pay off this salary, which, again, is just $3,800.
With a sub 4K bats for you, Kenny.
Yeah, another Ahmed Rosario is going to carry me to an AL-only championship, Gary, and I'm glad you brought him up. Another guy on my roster who I really like tonight, who's heating up, is Tyler Lawrence France, $2,800. Yes, Ty France from the Seattle Mariners. You remember Ty France from such hits as, oh my goodness, how good is this guy back in April? And oh my goodness, how good is this guy back in spring training? He's back. He has 37 DK fantasy points in the last 2 games, and he gets to face Bailey Ober here. Now, the Mariners on the whole have done a decent job against right-handed pitching. Bailey Ober has done a less than decent job against everybody in a short time in the major leagues. I don't think that he's going to really fare very well tonight. And you know that France is a talented hitter. We've seen it before this season. We've seen it before in previous seasons in San Diego. I do think that he is another good candidate to continue to roll. I mean, again, this guy got as hot as anybody this spring when the season opened. Why can't he get hot again? 37 DK fantasy points the last 2 games, $2,800. I think you're catching lightning in a bottle here.
All right, there, Ken. Let's make the move to the DK Sportsbook, the both of us. Let's change our attention from daily fantasy to obviously betting. You joked about Kawhi Leonard earlier. Well, we need to drill it down on baseball. Favorite bet of the day, MLB. What is it?
Yeah, I kind of touched on it earlier, but I really like that. See, now my voice is good. I like the Philadelphia Phillies and the Los Angeles Dodgers to go under 7 runs. This is a game that very likely could close at 6.5. And to me, you've got a pitcher that's absolutely shoving on one end in Zack Wheeler. And by the way, another great thing that we have to talk about is Zack Wheeler. His spin rates are very much league average. So it's not as if this guy is a candidate to, see a ton of regression here. He's been lights out. He again, maybe the best pitcher in the league right now, and maybe will be the best pitcher in the league in a month when we see pitchers start to, not use their sticky stuff. And the Dodgers have they've been okay over the last week or 2, but they haven't been great in the run scoring department. And on the other hand, you've got the Philadelphia Phillies absolutely struggling at the plate, and Clayton Kershaw in a big, I wouldn't say bounce back spot because he had a good start against the Rangers, but he's really trying to right the ship for his season. I think that this is easily under for me.
Garion?
I'm actually going to stick with that same game. I'll admit, I think the safer play is to take the under. I agree with Kenny in that sense. But if we're projecting this as a really low-scoring game, I mean, Kenny said earlier he doesn't think a run will be scored. But if it's going to be 0-0, 1-1 going into late innings, I think you just have to bet the underdog here. I don't quite understand why the Phillies are plus 133 on the money line with Wheeler pitching. They are 5-2 in his last 7 starts. As Kenny sort of alluded to, Clayton Kershaw's been fine so far this season. His advanced numbers, his ERA estimators are a little bit better across his last 6 starts. But in that 6-start span, he's got a ERA over 4, and he's given up 5 earned runs in 3 of those 6 starts. Yeah, it's great that he pitched well against Texas, but Texas is horrible against every left-handed pitcher, let alone a Hall of Fame left-handed pitcher. So, again, I'm not guaranteeing the Phillies are going to win this game, but I think this should be closer to a pick'em. And the fact you're getting plus 133 on arguably the hottest pitcher in baseball, I will take that every day of the week.